Okay, because I did put you locally. Okay.
Would you all please rise for the pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here. Thought the county meeting, or the highway meeting was very productive. Thank you all for your comments. We are ready for public comments. Yes, sir.
Me. Good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Bogue, citizen of the United States of America, veteran of the United States Army, and an Edgar County resident. I have just a couple things, more reminders. This next week is kind of a big week for a lot of reasons. Tomorrow there's going to be an election. Hope everybody votes. Wednesday, I think, is the last day that the county board members, some of them will be here on the county board. Will that be your last day?
There'll be a
Yeah, we have a
study
couple
session.
We got
We
two
have a
meetings
study
in
session.
November.
We have a November 30th. Regular.
The schedule changed a little bit.
No.
In my mind it did.
Well,
Okay, I'll try
In
to
any
catch
rate.
it. I'll try to catch it.
In any rate.
There you go. Oh, we'll do that. So you got two more. That's great.
Hi, Jeff.
There's an anniversary coming up in the next week. I don't know if you folks are aware of it or not. Some are, some are not. November 13th marks the 4th year anniversary of an Airport Advisory Board meeting at the Edgar County Airport. 4 years ago, I sat in that meeting at the insistence of my son, and it was in that meeting this advisory board banned my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter because they were breastfeeding. Publicly, nobody will admit that's the truth, but I was there and that is the truth. I invited the past county board chairman to sit in a polygraph with me. He could take one, I could take one. But I think what has happened there is that everybody rallied around the troops, and rather let someone accept responsibility for their behavior, they all been change their story. Kind of along the same line, the airport is interesting phenomena in a lot of ways. We had some planes that were firebombed there, 2 planes, and there were 4 names that the state police had an interest in. At least in their interviews and investigation, 4 names came to the forefront as potential people that firebombed the airplanes. Now these are 106 Papa Tango, which is a twin-engine Cessna, a 421 Roddy rocket, and the sister airplane is 25 Mike Alpha, which is a twin-engine Cessna 421 modified with turbines, known as a Roddy rocket. These are planes that were used in my son's business, but he never had any ownership in them. And hence, gossip and rumors fly, and people look at different things and suppose different things. The state police didn't make very much progress with their investigation. At one point, I was frustrated and demanded that they do something, and the response was, I remember it clearly, well, we can't tell who's lying, who's telling the truth. But I'll give you all polygraphs. I said, sure, why not? Make me the first person. And they did. The polygraph is available for viewing on the Edgar County Watchdog website, and I passed my polygraph. It's pretty simple, 4 questions. Did you burn the planes? Were you there? Did you know anything about it? So what about the other 3 people that didn't take their polygraphs? Like the Edgar County Airport manager. Why didn't he take a polygraph? He's your representative. He represents the airport and the county. Why didn't Chris Patrick take a polygraph? He's a former county board member. You remember some of the pictures on the planes, they say, this is our airport, and the other says, fuck Rob. Those are actually statements that were made after a airport advisory board meeting at the Kreckman building. Those are overheard. So this is an anniversary week. 4 years ago, against well, not against, but I didn't want to be part of my son's business. And I didn't want to go to the airport advisory board meeting. He was insistent. Now, it seems like that's all I do is try to keep track of people and figure out who's not being truthful. I would ask that you vote this week, and I would ask that you think about the events at the Edgar County Airport. I'd ask that you look at the polygraph results, and there'll be more articles, there'll be more about the investigation. And if you know Mr. Patrick, or if you know Mr. Wells, that you ask them why they haven't taken their polygraph test. Other individual, Brian Phillips, owned the planes. There's a question mark there, but it's pretty damn small, because he wasn't the person that attended the Kreckman building and the Airport Advisory Board meeting. So I just ask that you think about things as you move forward. That's all I got.
Thank you. Are there any additional public comments tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Well, Andy,
They, as far as moving on the courthouse, the heating, air conditioning, one of the units in the courtroom, the fan went out, so they got in, they had the fan out of the unit that was in the up above probation. They went to put that into the unit, and there's 2 units in the courtroom, and one of the units in the courtroom didn't have a thermostat. I guess it's never cooled. That one unit has never worked in the courtroom. So it's only been one unit the whole
it's
time.
economical.
It's real economical. It's been kinda hard on the one, but, so they've, he said, I said, well, put a thermostat in and hook the thing up. So, I gave them the go-ahead to go ahead and do that. I think, I don't know if you've been up there lately, it was supposed to be done last,
No, I didn't go up this past
Friday.
weekend, so I don't know.
and I haven't had a chance to get up there today yet, so I'm gonna go up and look this afternoon, but the heating, refrigeration is supposed to be done up there. They're supposed to have moved the lines, put all the pans under and gotten all their stuff done, so. And then Mark Sullivan's supposed to get in, finish putting the ceiling back in, and we'll be done with the heating and cooling. So, and I feel pretty good. I think I'm gonna recommend that in the spring, have somebody come in, inspect those units, make sure the drains, everything's functional, and I think that'll keep any problems like we had this year with a couple of units leaking and ruining the ceilings in rooms. Other than that, that's all I've got at this point.
Any questions of Andy? Mr. Brunner has a few things for us
Yeah.
this morning, don't you?
Yeah, this is not my committee, but there's a couple ladies work at the hospital. They live across the street from this property. You've probably seen it. It's on Eads and Wood Street.
I don't know.
And I told her I would bring it up
Yeah.
to the board.
Which is by the same thing as the one I brought up probably about 4 months ago.
I did some research on it, and if you notice on the first page, the property actually is not in the city. It's in the county. It's just one little square there on the corner. The pictures really don't do justice. I mean,
It's bad.
it's bad. There's a house falling down with a tree on top.
It is horrible.
There's a shed that has a tree just fell on it. There's an RV that sits in the front yard. So I went to the assessor's office. I do know who owns the house. I don't know if I should mention the name. They do pay the tax.
It's public record,
Okay.
okay?
The Main Society owns property. It was probably donated to them.
So they are actually the owners of, because
They're
when
the
I thought
ones
when I
that pay
looked
the
it up.
taxes.
Okay, but when I looked it up,
Yeah.
like whatever it was, and you said turn it over to the health department, I thought it had an out-of-state owner, but I could be wrong
I
as
just-
far as the owner.
I went to the assessor's office.
Oh, good.
Humane Society does pay the taxes. It's, if you wanna see the, I've got the tax.
On both of those, Dan, on both properties?
Yeah,
There's just,
Okay,
the whole thing.
there's just one,
I thought it was just the one
it's
on the
one,
corner.
it's one property, I thought that.
Right.
I've looked in,
Well, there
I've
may
got
be
all
two
kinds of
tax
info
bills,
on
so-
that.
Oh,
Also.
That's what, I didn't
Okay.
think it.
Who's the tax bill made out to?
Here, I'll get it to you.
That's the important thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Just when I looked up on our GIS system.
This was the tax bill.
Yes, Edgar County Humane Association is who's the,
Is that the owner then?
well, that's,
Paid.
That's, yeah, I don't know that, Sue, and
Yeah.
I don't know who's in charge of the Humane Society, so they gave me the name of Barbara Morgan, but I think she's the one that was in charge of, like, the property that was donated to the Humane Society, so.
okay,
So I'm kind of a loss, because I told the lady I would bring it up at board meeting and see what options we have. And Jeff and I talked to him a little bit. The problem is, if we do something and pay the money to clean up that property, and how many other people in the county are gonna want their property cleaned up?
the other issue, which we did not talk about, and I thought of later, was if we expend money on property we don't own, that's an issue.
Right.
Well, we know that the Humane Society can't do it themselves.
And that's what we
That's what
kinda
my
came
point,
up
my
with.
point too. I don't think they have the
They could have
Oh,
a
they
the
don't.
resources.
I thought they had a lot of money.
I don't know who's in charge of it, how else it used to be, but I
Jeff,
think she kind of dropped out of it.
didn't you at one time say you were trying to get a grant for?
I have,
That's
yes,
my point too. I might
Okay.
be able to get a grant to do it. I talked to Janet, the health department.
but you still
She's
have to
aware
have
of it,
title
but
to it
I
before
don't
you
know.
can use it. The thing we could do in the interim, if the board agrees, is we could write a letter
Mhm.
to the folks at the, that receive the tax bill under the county and ask them to attend. It's been pointed out, you know, that there are difficulties and deficiencies in the property, and the health department.
There may be liabilities.
Right.
The first one, I brought up earlier, was the fact that the first tree had fallen over on one of the buildings.
Right. That was
I just
pretty
went by there, just, I think after the second thing
Right.
had fallen over, if I was that lady who lives straight north of there, I'd have got a little shook when that puppy
Mhm.
came down. And, because I think at that time she came out of the house, because I was just at that corner. I'm like, whoa.
Well, somebody did clean up the first tree
Yeah.
that was on the house.
Yeah.
Who did it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the RV sitting there is, you know, it has to be a rat infested.
Well, the only
place.
thing is we get into, you know, like when we talk about land usage and stuff, and zoning and issues in that area within our county, and then, you know, are you gonna start, that's a tough thing. I think there's a line between, I think there's a big difference when you have county property surrounding or around a whole lot of people. That's one issue, in my personal mind,
Right.
as opposed to the farmer who's decided he's gonna put his old tractors out there and throw them down in his thing, and somebody says, oh, look, he's got 5 old tractors, 2 old combines, and it's just drawing junk down. Well,
That's
we
a
don't
savings
have.
account.
Yeah, that's what, you know, that's a whole, I'd hate to, I don't think, if I understood this board before, I don't think they really wanted to get into
I wouldn't know.
countywide going out there and saying, that's a bad deal, you need to clean it up. I don't know. But I would hope there'd be something we could do
That's what I was hoping to,
within
especially
this.
that one.
Well, it's surrounded, I mean, city's surrounded it.
Does everybody know where we're talking about? Been
Yeah.
by
The
it?
corner of Eads and Wood.
Yeah,
There's
you
an
can
old
drive by.
dilapidated green building.
Drive by and
It's
look at
a,
it.
you know, like. when you
Pictures
come
don't
off
look
Clinton Road,
justice, really, so.
Yeah.
and you're going toward the
Stop
hospital.
sign.
Act like
Right,
you're
you
going to the
turn
hospital. It's the
On
first
the
stop sign.
northeast corner there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yes.
I haven't been there forever.
Call Jane Asher, it'll be done like that.
I don't know who's in charge of the Main Society anymore, that's
Well,
another
that's
problem.
what we need to find out and
Right.
contact them, see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, can you do that?
I have an address for it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And if,
Yep.
Why'd you give the property to the city?
I would take it.
Surrounded by it.
They're
Surrounded
trying
by
to give
it.
me
Never clean
airport
it up.
for 4 years.
I know, I said the same thing, but I guarantee.
well, about all we could do would be to write a letter
Right.
saying
Given
that,
the fact
we
that
wish you would attend to these
Oh, is it-
deficiencies, is all I
Does
can
the city have funds to tear down this? They do?
I think they do, yeah. Or, I mean, they've done it.
And then
They have,
Given-
they have an avenue, you know, I think, but.
But if it's not in the city,
If she
given
had
what's
charge of it.
going on,
No.
They had a grant.
the city might.
I know
Buildings
Madison
down.
used to be,
Huh?
but she
They had
kind
a
of
grant of like
Jane
cleanup
Addison.
grant,
Yeah.
taking the derelict buildings down. They
Okay.
had something that way.
Right, I kinda remember that.
Well, and it could be a windfall for the Humane Society, I mean, they get to adopt all those rats for a small fee that are.
Feed them to the pit bull.
that's pretty.
Also feed, oh, sorry.
I'll see why I can do that.
No, we're not trying to dump it, I mean, everybody needs to be aware of it, we
Well-
have issues all over the county.
Now, here's the other issue that I was wondering, because I got hit up again by a different person on
Yeah.
Saturday about it.
and I go by it a lot. And I said, I know it, and I said, and they said, well, and I think that some of it may already be in the state's attorney's office as far as health and safety of people in the county,
Right.
and whether or not he is willing to push that. And I said, I don't know those laws. I said, and they said, that's where they thought it was. But I don't know.
We haven't tripped across that wire, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, because you do have health
It
and
is.
safety.
It
You
is?
have
It's been referred to the state's attorney,
From the
Okay.
health department? or-
yes, from the health department.
okay,
Okay.
so I don't know if that's where our avenue is
I've
or
got
not.
tons of people on me about it, because we go by
Oh,
it
you-
10 times a day.
Right.
And
I've got people on me about it too.
yeah, but I don't know, I mean, it's
can't
been
rank
referred to the state's attorney's office.
So he's looking into it,
That was a long time ago, Carl,
like months ago.
months
At
ago.
least like,
Oh,
at least 4 to 5, because that's when I told Janet about
Yeah.
it, and she already knew it, and, or she, that guy that I originally told, talked to her about it.
I'll give you a copy of the letter if you want.
What was
Can you actually
the
do
grant
anything
you
by,
applied for? And then didn't-
It was a HUD grant.
can you actually make somebody do it by law, or, that's what I think. I mean, the letter's fine, but if there's no enforcing, then,
We have no
Well, I know that.
enforcement ability that I'm aware of unless it trips some trigger as far as health and safety.
Right.
And then it becomes a health department issue, and that's for, I'm not in that pay grade, neither are you
you know,
guys, so.
But they clearly violate the nuisance ordinance. That's why Janet referred it to the state's attorney's office.
now, if it's in the city, it'd be a little different, right?
Right.
Well, it is virtually in the city.
Well,
It's-
that's not.
but it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, it is and it's not, right.
Well,
So it sounds like if you're gonna look into it, go talk with the state's attorney and find out what he's doing and see if they've contacted him and see if they've got any response or, see what's up.
I agree.
Then
There has
go
been
from there.
contact with the Humane Association. I mean, they have basically no skin in the game anyway. I mean, if it was,
So
the
it's
property
given
was
to-
donated to them, they're just paying the bill on it,
Right.
so.
but they do have a liability
Right.
Right.
If they own it,
That's
it's
the
their
big-
baby.
Right. But I mean, what
We
lever
can't
do we have
force
against
them
them
to-
to?
Yeah, that's the problem,
Right.
you don't have much leverage, I don't
We're
think.
gonna, you know,
Maybe
we threaten to take the property away from them,
Yeah.
which I'm sure would be heartbreaking, and they really, move on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we want.
I just told her I'd check into it, she was,
Yeah.
Do you have anything else then, Dan?
everything else is fine.
Michael? Carl?
No.
Did you wanna say that we're okay on our union contracts and our everything, everything else is fine? And
You can
I
talk
mean,
about that.
Andy, you were there, or
Oh,
that's right.
You were the
I
only
was
one
You're the
there.
only one there.
everything, God, I hope I did good, guys. Yeah, everything is signed, sealed, and delivered and moving forward. The committees are set up, and we had asked them to, right after the holidays, fire up the committees so we could start working on that. The only other thing we should do, with your permission, I'll ask the state's attorney how we might approach it, is next year's a negotiation year, and do we want to at least identify somebody that might be able to help us with that?
Right.
That we've sort of talked about, in other words, a professional, so that we're not sitting as,
I agree.
what would you call it, just, they've got a professional and we're just sitting
We
there
know,
as.
yes.
as amateur.
gun.
Hard gun, yeah.
Well, I was trying to, yes, that's,
Oh, we had a hired gun.
Yeah.
thank you for,
Yeah,
all right.
Get it out there.
Well, I guess, Alan, do you
Yeah,
have?
we're in good process. County Clerk's Office has been doing a good job too. I talked with Carrie and Vanessa for both from Bushu as far as our, all the rest of the property liability, inland marine, auto, legal all that stuff. And they are getting their final stuff back, and they were only missing one bit of information, and that was from insurance company. And they should have our,
Liability.
yeah, the whole thing should be back. They were hoping within 2 or 3 days, so that we can get that set up and probably, hopefully approve maybe at the tail end. I think that's when you can do that one for the,
If we can, yes.
yeah, on that last November meeting. At the same time, we're doing something else, but
Yep.
other than that, also want to applaud the work that our county did on the standpoint of the health insurance. It's one of those, as Kirk said, Kirk Good, one of the guys, and he says, yeah, everybody loves me. You know, because what's he do? He comes out and tells you how much your bill's gonna raise, you know.
Yeah.
There's nothing pleasant about health insurance nowadays whatsoever. But I know our county clerk's office, our county treasurer's office, they did a lot of work. They did a lot of work on it also behind the scenes, and even within the negotiations part of this, you know, we may all not all agree with exactly all aspects of how this all worked out, but hopefully we're on the right track as far as going down the line a little bit. From what I understand, it's pretty well shaken out now. I hope it is. That's the last I heard from everybody, including people in Augie's office, including people in Don's office, including people at Bushu. And especially once we finalized a way to make sure that through our auditor that those issues could be taken out pre-tax. That was a huge thing to do. So again, I applaud Jeff a little bit there for going and talking to Joe and seeing what we could do or couldn't do. And Bushu thought that was the best thing to do too, because that should help us out in the long run. So I think that's hopefully going down there, and who knows what's going to happen with health insurance.
Well, has anybody gotten their health insurance that's not in, anybody gotten their, mine went up 400%.
Yeah, well, yeah.
400%.
I mean, that's what I say, it just,
Mary's analysis.
yeah, it's
So
absolutely.
I feel pretty good that we were able to keep ours
Yeah,
where we kept
well,
where
right,
it is.
and to keep it where it's at, the issue there is that we did spend money. You know,
Yeah.
that was the issue, but that's kind of a side issue from the health, because we made a determination. Again, you know, not everybody's probably another, but as a board, we voted to do what we did, and now we go forward, because, you know, that's what we did.
Everybody contributed.
Right, I mean, that's just a part of it. To me, that's a separate issue than the health insurance. What we did from the health insurance standpoint is we approved the policies. Then, from a whole board standpoint, we approved something else.
Yeah, the
You know, as far as-
Norfolk paper, their insurance over there went down like 9%. Yeah, Blue Cross Blue Shield, their premiums went down.
Wow.
That's highly unusual.
Mine
Why, I
stayed the
don't know.
same. Not a dime increase.
I don't know. I know there's a lot of places in Illinois that didn't happen, Mike.
No, it didn't happen.
I know a lot of places.
Yours
We
went
found out
400%.
about that.
100%.
Yeah, and individually, and well, we're just got a lot of changes. So I didn't want to belabor it, but those are
Fine.
the two things going on, and I'm looking forward to having this December 1st deadline met as far as.
You gotta get it all in here in the next couple of
That's
weeks.
There you go.
You're a lame duck.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions of Alan?
We're gonna
Derek?
miss you, know that, don't you? We're gonna miss you.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Mark this morning, but all the paperwork has been submitted by Mr. Howery to him. So hopefully get that hung up and move forward on that. Maybe hopefully have something by Wednesday. As Aaron stated, we are in the process of, and hopefully have blacktop put in out there at the airport, a couple spots. So just to explain that a little further, access road, parking lot, the access point from the parking lot to the backside of that taxiway ramp, T-hangers, and then also a job working on the worst of the cracks on the taxiway. So I would say hopefully get that done in the next couple of weeks. In your board packets, there is the purchase order for the tractor that we purchased. So are you tracking on what we need to get, John, as far as?
That's a lease, not a purchase.
It's a lease.
Sorry, words mean
Big
things.
difference.
I'm not doing okay.
It's all right. Just want
It
to make
says
it
purchase
clear.
order at the top, though, in my defense.
Manatron.
But if you look through that, we got a hell of a deal on that tractor. So anyway, we'll be voting on that on Wednesday,
Yes.
and that's it.
Any questions? Okay, Jeff, do you have, oh, I need to ask you, did you get back with,
I sent her an email telling her who we need to
Everything
call
we
and
need.
where and what, yeah.
and Jeff and I are talking about the tower lease. We met on the phone with Augie, Jeff and I, with them. We had a phone conference because AT&T took over the tower. We've got a new lease going. I know you saw it. There was some questions. We bounced it off the state's attorney. They are now putting the lease together so that we can act on it at the last meeting in the month. And we've answered all of Mark's questions. We're getting more money out of the lease. We had some access issues. We had to make sure that if at some point we were changing the jail in any way, shape, or form, we had an out. where we weren't violating the contract, and onward and onward and onward. So all of those issues, we believe, are resolved, and we should have that document. As soon as we get it in, we'll either mail it or electronically send it to you so you can deal with it. As far as the budget, we are, and it's important, we've got 2 meetings this month, one Wednesday and one the 30th. We need to have, as many of you here, we at least have to have a quorum so that we're, and that's not an issue, but it's really important that you guys make it to the next 2 meetings so that we can get the levy and the appropriation ordinance passed. You do have it. Did you get a copy to Carl so he has it also?
Right in his hand.
Okay, so I did everything that we talked about, no more, no less. Everything is in there. The 1% is in there where it's supposed to be. It fell a little bit below where I thought it was gonna be as far as dollars. And so, your 10 grand, not your 10 grand, but the stuff for building and grounds is in there. I think everything's built the way we talked about it. So if you see anything, let me know. We can always tweak it a little bit if we have to. But as of Wednesday, it'll be a done deal, okay? Any questions on that particular issue?
Jeff, not that you can be the
No.
mysterious person and guess what's gonna happen, but on Wednesday, will we have, that, like a kind of updated Fund 100 status that we keep? I mean, yes, what is gonna be that, ask and you shall receive? Okay,
You will get a more updated one. This one does not have payroll
that's fine.
in it. Basically, with the next 2 payrolls in it, so you will know, basically we'll,
I'll give you mine.
it's okay.
So there's 2 more payrolls that go in on this?
2 more, one this Wednesday and then 2 weeks from, Friday, and then 2 weeks from Friday. And you figure about 85 for one and 90 for the other. So you're thinking about another 180 to 190,000 in payroll. Right now, with everything we've got in or coming in that I'm aware of, we will be better than even for the year, but we have a lot of things that aren't in yet as far as revenue, okay? So we're still looking at a payment on a reduction on the money that were in arrears from years ago, and we should make a substantial dent in that. Depends on what we get in for revenue. Augie and I have talked about several issues. We're early enough in the month, for example, that we haven't got a lot of the offices. The sheriff got his money in, but I don't think anybody else has gotten any fees or anything else in for the month. All of that is substantial. We've got most of the state tax money is not in yet. We did get some, actually that income tax was for last month, but it was received in at the very beginning of this month, so we still have income tax coming in. And most of the other categories, we got reimbursement from the state on state's attorney, supervisor of assessment, Monty's crew, the probation, we're looking at 14 to 16,000. The city owes us 8. I mean, it all adds up, and then we got the transfers. So all of that should put us up around 3.6, 3.65 million in revenue, and that will be good for us. Okay? Is that what you asked?
Okay.
But I will have a more up-to-date. The only difference between now and Wednesday, if you get an update, will be the payroll for this week and anything that we seeded in as far as revenue. Okay?
And I noticed
Yes.
we've got 156,000 projected for debt reduction, which, obviously we're gonna have to wait till the end of the year, see how much is left, but then also building fund reimbursement, 50,000, and nothing's been put in yet.
You look down one item, they somehow inadvertently put it in the
25, so
wrong.
we've already put 25 towards
Yes.
building fund.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we have.
that's good. I thought we did, but
No, that's fine, and I keep forgetting to ask Don to correct that, but it still is the same thing, okay?
Right.
And we received our last payment from 911, so they're all up to date. everything's coming in like we expected, and so we're moving forward with that. We have.
What do you project the sheriff to be over this year? Can you look at that?
According to this, it's at 98% right now, but the payroll, that's,
Gonna take him?
Probably,
oh yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say. It depends on how much, Jeff's staff catches up on some of their year-end stuff.
Like their vacations and everything, they're gonna be.
Vacations, how much they've taken and have, Earl, Jeff, I mean.
Biggest part of them, I think, pretty much out of their vacations.
Well,
We're used to that.
That's fine. And you're talking about, here, a couple of years ago, when we got to the end of the year, we had an older staff, and pretty much now, we've got a young staff, okay? So, I mean, predominantly, if you look at the composition, it's changed a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. But, the sheriff's done a good job in controlling some of his other expenses, while we've been working together to work with the union on some of the reductions and some of the other things that are very positive. So, okay? And you look at the vehicle situation with the sheriff's department, we've made a great deal of headway there and reduced some of our costs on repairs and some of the other things that were really plaguing us over the years. So, I think all in all, it's a fairly
Are
positive
you,
deal.
are you gonna get another one this year, you think?
And I try to get one in.
You
Kinda
got
got
it in the
a
budget?
grant deal we're kinda working on, that's what we're kinda,
A what?
grant,
Oh.
Because I noticed you've got, I think, in there 15,000,
He's got 30 in his maintenance.
I'm talking about auto purchasing.
there's 28,
28.
29.
But that's money for the payments for the ones you got
Right,
this
so I
year.
made, let me get this right. I made a $21,000, roughly $21,000 payment this spring when I bought these.
Mhm.
Then I'll have another payment of the same
Next spring.
amount next spring in March.
So there's a
And
little
then one the following spring.
Right.
It's divided into 3 payments for the
Right.
2 vehicles.
What we did was allowed for an extra lease payment this coming year, so if you wanted to trade one off and get another lease in, okay?
But you're trying to do it through a grant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right, it's a matching grant.
The matching.
They'll put up 25 if we can come up, but see, I've got roughly $12,000 still from that vehicle we wrecked this year. If I can come up with, 12,000 out of my budget and get two new vehicles, it's kind of what I'm,
What's the total fleet size? How many vehicles?
He doesn't even know.
my total what now?
How many cars you got? How many total cars?
New ones or?
Just all?
Don't forget
That are
Yeah,
functional,
man.
that will actually start and
Well,
will,
yeah.
Oh,
with lights and,
Two.
all that cop stuff.
You hear that?
2 in his track.
We're doing well.
that made it easy when you come back.
Not rusting through.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm just talking about total replacement. So we have basically 3 new vehicles this year, right?
Right.
The K-9 unit.
We've got 7 vehicles that's on the road
Okay.
all the time.
So we're still in the pipeline to try to replace 4. And then of the not new vehicles, what's the newest one you got?
Be the Impala, which is I'm trying to think if it's a 12 or 13.
Okay, so not bad.
It's a Taurus, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a 12 or 13, but it's got a lot of miles though, because it was purchased through the Missouri Highway Patrol.
Oh, so it
It's
was,
one of those refurbished deals for,
okay.
Now, those 2 old vehicles that were sitting out there, do you still have
the
those?
2 Dodgers. Yeah, they're still out there.
Do you use either one of them?
We haven't lately, they're about,
They won't start, will they?
no, they'll start. I had them both running the other day and
Well, we need to maybe get stuff off of them. You're not gonna ever use them again, are you?
well, now we use the one just to, if we have to run somebody out to the hospital or, I mean, they don't leave town, but they're,
Well, the one we were talking
One
about
sits at the hospital.
taking out the airport,
right.
One set of hospital, yeah.
so we need
All
to
the time.
sometime have somebody work on getting that, so we can get that out of the
Some of them
airport.
working.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you about that.
Make a point to Jeff on the sheriff deputies we get at the hospital. I know he had nothing to do with it for security, but they're all really good. The sheriff deputies that work 12 to 12 on security, very happy with them, so. And we've used them a few times, so. I know it's not, you have nothing to do with it, but
Right.
in a way you do because they're your employees.
Enough of them are- yeah.
One other thing coming up on the agenda, you all received a copy of the appraisal for the Kreckman building. And I don't know what you thought about it, because I haven't talked to anybody.
Boy, he
about it.
did a lot of work on that, didn't he?
$1,000,
Yeah.
geez.
Well, that was the cheaper of the two estimates.
I'm gonna
There was
say you got
another
that
one that he
job.
wanted 1,200 and some dollars. Well, we're talking about a commercial,
Yeah.
it's not like appraising a house,
No.
okay?
No.
And he had to go far and wide to get his comps.
He did a good job. That was well worth the money, I thought.
And anyway, I've got it on the agenda to talk about, and eventually we need to make a decision about the disposition of whether you want to try to sell the building or not. That's the whole purpose, so please be prepared to talk about it a little bit. We don't have to make a decision at this meeting, but eventually we're gonna have to, if we're serious about it, then I think there's some serious people that are interested in it, from what I understand. So, anyway, I put that to
It's
you.
just gonna get worse if you. it's not gonna
The
get
building
better.
sitting that's the hardest thing there is on it.
So, at any rate, I bring that up. At the next, we also have appointments to 911. There's some other things on the agenda. I assume they're fairly straightforward. We talked about some of the more complicated issues earlier in the highway meeting, but everything else is pretty straightforward. Is there any questions on the agenda that Augie and I might be able to ask, to deal with?
What's number 20 on the, Edgar County War Memorial? They're gonna put something up somewhere or, more than $1,000.
Verlin was talking to some of the city people, and evidently there's some grant opportunities to refurbish World War I memorials, and since ours includes World War I, Verlin is interested in pursuing some of that grant money. I can't tell you how much, but every little bit will help, and he wants to make sure that.
Is that the one at the courthouse?
Yes, I'm sorry, that's our war memorial there. And every year he comes out and he works on that.
He's working on it the other day. I
He's
saw
working
him.
on it the other day,
Yeah.
And we want to show our support.
Right.
And do it
absolutely.
the right way and make sure that everything's correct, so that we can give him his best opportunity to do what he's doing.
Yep.
Okay? At the next meeting at the end of the month, obviously, we'll have the appropriation and levy ordinance to pass, but we'll also be dealing with the bulk payment for IMRF. There's some other, the lease for the tower and a couple of other things if they do come up. So, by the way, the Echo payment that we started at $9,000 per month, even though we're making the bulk payment on IMRF, then it was $7,000, then it's $6,000, then it's $5,000. It's $4,035 for next year. So we keep gaining a lot on it, and so we're taking care of our retirement programs, and they're doing well. So
Is that an annual payment or monthly?
that's a monthly.
Okay.
They kind of,
Makes more sense.
that was, they couldn't exempt us from it, even though we were making bulk payments, because they had a lot of counties and agencies were behind the 8 ball on it. So what they did was enact, based on what they owed, a monthly payment that everybody paid in to get them caught up. So we got caught up in that, and that's why ours is less than half of what it was 4 years ago, because we've been making the bulk payments.
Well, would it be worth pursuing, continuing, I mean, can we go over, or how's that work? Can we continue paying what we were paying in order to pay it off sooner, or what's the?
Well, we're
what's the-
I guess the bulk payment,
That's
you
the
need
bulk
to give
payment.
people a month or.
I don't know that they
Sure,
want, that's a good question. I don't know that they want us doing more monthly, because they have that, They had
It's
that-
a minimum.
it's a okay, I was thinking they had that built into their actuarial things.
You can check on it. and
I could
see if
check
we
on
can-
that.
You mean
Is that what
don't
you're
leave
asking?
it
I
at
guess-
6?
I guess my point being is if we've already had that budget in and we've been doing a good job, would whatever the state does to give us a minimum affect that, or should we continue with the status quo while things are going well and continue to aggressively pay that off? Is that worth our time? Does it
Well,
make sense? What are the numbers on it, percentages? I mean, there's a lot to it. but
I think
that's-
we stand more to gain with the bulk payment,
Yeah.
so we can get away from that 7.5% interest charge.
Yes, absolutely, but
And we're paying about as max as we can, because
Okay.
we gotta keep our
Right.
cash flow up.
I guess maybe
Yeah.
I just don't understand, so they gave us a minimum monthly, we can still pay a bulk payment as long as it's at that much or more, right?
We don't have to give them.
We don't even have to do a bulk payment.
Right.
But that's what we've been doing, and that's what
Yes.
we're gonna continue
Well,
to do.
We did
plus we
that
pay
before.
monthly too.
Right.
Oh, but-
We pay
We
monthly
do 'em
and
both.
bulk. It's-
See, we
that
started
answer
making a
that- yeah.
bulk payment
That's
when
what
I
I'm-
got, and Carl got involved here about 5-6 years ago. And then about 4 years ago, not only did they want the bulk payment, they wanted a monthly payment. So we're doing both.
Okay.
Yeah, they put us on the monthly payment and told us what they wanted.
Right.
That wasn't up to us.
And like I
And
said,
then
that's,
it should be going down.
and that's what I'm saying, it's
Because anytime we put in the bulk, then they have to do
They
the
recalculate
refigure,
hours.
plus they
Yep.
know how much we're paying per month, so.
so we're doing,
Easy, that's what I wanted to know.
okay, well, that's.
Good question, Derek. Good question.
Did you have other stuff that you wanted to cover, Augie? Under your, we got you on the agenda, is there something else you wanna,
No,
about how many people have voted, or?
Is this a record, Augie, this time for early voting? you think?
well, when I left to come out here, we had 2,025 early voters.
How many total voters you got in the county?
A little over 13,000. And
20% already voted.
we
That's
we
something
have,
you can consider, a lot of them don't vote.
I can tell you since I've been in office, that obviously is the highest we've ever seen. I can't speak for prior years, but
You've not had early voting that long, have you?
no, I mean, it's just been absentee.
Right.
So when they call it
Sounds like 20.
early voting, yes, that's really opened the floodgates, especially for this election.
I count my 189 I got.
No, I'm not counting them.
Not counting Dan's votes? Sure didn't know you were, I could have voted.
You gotta go on Facebook.
Didn't know it.
When did you say we were gonna discuss Kreckman Building?
It's on the agenda for
No.
the meeting, we can just.
No,
This meeting?
No.
Oh, it's not on there?
You asked
not on the
me to
agenda.
send that upstairs to Mark.
Oh, that's right.
So it is not on this agenda, but
Okay.
we could still talk about it.
Yeah, we
This
can talk
morning.
about it right now.
Well, I know we'll have, if we do sell it, we'll have to think about storage.
Right,
We're gonna have another building for storage, and that could be at a cost.
right, it will be.
Right.
What, I guess, what out there do we actually need to store and
Oh,
what's
yeah,
superfluous?
in the back room.
I try to avoid back.
Most of
rooms,
it-
scare me.
Yeah,
Needs to be an auction and
right.
trash.
What was the
But there's-
appraisal on that building?
129.6, I believe.
You could shred a lot of that stuff in that back room.
Well,
Yeah.
and
But still, we gotta have a place to store stuff.
Right.
But we were previously paying like 500 a month. Was it 400, 500?
Thought it was, I don't know.
I was thinking 4 or 5,000 a year we were paying in rental.
right. That's correct. But the office holders have checked with the state on the disposition of paperwork. Like Don has a bunch of stuff, Dina, of course, the county clerk, and some of that stuff can be disposed of. Obviously, some of it can never be disposed
Right.
of.
A
So,
lot of that stuff too belongs to him. I mean, there's just a lot of sheriff's junk out there that you may want to save. I don't know.
Treasures, like.
Well, they are. There's
Treasures.
consoles and
Treasure, yeah.
tires and just,
but they have done a nice job of cleaning. It kind of got out of hand.
Right.
And it looks much, much better out there than what it has over the last few months, so we appreciate that.
We need a huge dumpster out there is what we need.
Well, I thought about having an auction. You know, have an auction just. so
Whether or
that's
not
just-
we do it.
And if we're gonna think
oh yeah,
about,
whether you sell it or not, you need to get rid of it.
yeah, and we're running out of good weather time right now. You know, if we wanna do something now just to get rid of 3/4 of it.
Is that something that you, the sheriff, can help us with?
Well, what if we got that, Pfeiffer live out there on Westwood, they do them estate deals. They're a tag, like a tag sale, I mean, you turn it over to them, say, we want this stuff sold, and they take a percentage of it. I don't know what it is, but you know, it'll be like, they'll advertise it Thursday, Friday and Saturday or something like that, and they sit out there and they have price tags on everything, and they'll negotiate it a little bit.
I hesitate to say this, but we've gotta do it according to Hoyle, the
Right.
law. So whatever we do, we need to make sure it meets the state criteria for distributing or the, you know, getting rid of stuff, so.
Then
that
what are
we
you gonna
don't-
do with the money you get? You know what, how you put it?
Well, that's, I assume
Yeah.
that'll just go into the general fund, but that's another question what we need to ask.
Well, maybe the sheriff said, well, those were my tires and those were my parts, that needs to go, that
Yeah,
has
doesn't
to
work
go.
that
It's
way.
county. You
Okay.
can't do it that way.
Because, yeah, there's stuff that's off mine, there's stuff that I think belongs, that
But it
come
was
from out
more
here.
with general fund.
Right, right,
Okay.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just, you're right. There's no sense trying to get specific about it.
Well, at any rate, Carl brings up a good point that regardless of that issue, we need to deal with all the stuff out there.
Well, and just to give you an idea, I just looked up real quick here, in 2009, 2010, the market value of that, according to Dina, I believe, was 221, 280. So in 6, 7 years' time, we have not really appreciated anything.
Well, if you'll notice in that document, Mr. Kreckman had that building for sale for $195 for 18 months and got absolutely
Right.
nobody
Yeah,
interested in it.
But that, and that's what I'm saying, the other side of that is, I don't know if we'll ever get anything more than that 129 out, because you may, if you don't know what somebody else may want, but on those amounts, you know, you're over
So you
$6,000
guys
in
are-
taxes that you're losing out, so it may be a lot less than that, but if it's $4,000 a year, I don't know, and you're better at that than I am, but my thought on that originally was like, I can't believe we can't build a storage thing for a while and put 3,000 of that 4,000 into building a building if we need to someplace else for storage, and then it's over and done with.
Maybe we have a place out here.
I
There
mean,
may be a piece
some
of ground out here
airport.
that we could, or the airport.
Hangar.
Yeah.
But here, it would be more, it would be closer
Yeah.
to the courthouse. And maybe Aaron has a piece of ground where we can just, and it's
well, have
already.
you guys totally, you totally decide you're never gonna put offices out there, correct?
Well, I think that's
relocate.
part of our discussion here is going forward.
I think you have the parking space.
So, I mean, we need to,
At one time, you talked about several offices there in the courthouse being out
And
there.
again, the health department asked about one time too, but I don't think it's sufficient for their work. What they
well, the
do.
parking's an issue.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, the parking, there's not much parking there.
But I think we do have at least one or two active people that are interested in it. So, but we have to take the step to show that we are, you know, put up, like one of the attorneys in town says, well, you guys, we couldn't tell whether you were serious or not, so either we need to show we're serious or not. So, that's where we're at. Okay?
But just, I don't know what the utilities are, but the utilities that we're paying for it might pay for rent for something else too.
Yeah, because we're having to maintain it at a higher level
Right.
just to maintain the building.
And actually, we started that like 3 years ago when Ben and I were out there looking at that, and we were starting to get all sorts of crap. And we started looking at what it really was, and it's like, in my mind, at that time, you couldn't, you have to put heat and air in that building. Otherwise, I think it's, as Andy would say, it's gonna go downhill super
Take
bad.
humidity out of it too.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to discuss today that we've missed? Sheriff, anything else? Augie,
Good luck.
Elections tomorrow.
we heard that somewhere.
Well, you better get busy, get them booths put up there. What are you doing here?
You guys hurry up, I can get out of here.
And even
I'd
for,
entertain a motion.
well, real quick, something really earth-shatteringly important. Even for an old Cardinal fan, I was telling, I feel bad for Augie because he hasn't really even been able to enjoy the fact that his Cubbies won a World Series, you know, and because he's been so darn busy. So I want to congratulate he and all the rest of those Cub fans out
Thank
there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they bought our Cardinal players last year, so I was going this
Yeah,
year.
you know, so
Is that a motion to adjourn too?
Is there
Yes,
a
can I
motion?
make that motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
I remember
Thank
growing
you,
up as a
gentlemen.
kid, my dad listened to all the Cup games.
Is that right?
I said one guy took the radio out to his dad